Vietnam venture. Please welcome.
Hello, I hope you've been having a good day. I've been pleased to be able to meet some of you in the hallway and hear the exciting things you're working on. For those who don't know me, I'm Eddie Thái. I'm co-founder and general partner of AVV. It's an early stage VC firm headquartered in Ho Chi Minh City. Before that, I was a co-founder and general partner of the Vietnam Focus Fund of 500 Startups, which is a global VC firm headquartered in San Francisco. I and my partner, Vin, who's an entrepreneur in AI for the last, before working with me for 10 years, and a top AI leader at Forbes, we have been investing together in Vietnam and beyond since 2015. Our very first investment was actually an AI startup, ALC, many of you may know, an edtech AI startup helping people learn English. It actually became the first investment in Asia of Google's AI-focused fund, sometime after we invested. And in the time since, we've invested in more than 20 AI-centric companies, both in Vietnam as well as North America. So we've been tracking AI for quite some time, and I wanted to use the next 10 minutes to share with you some of the observations we've made about AI in the world over the last several years. I was originally going to start with focusing on specific AI companies in Asia and the cool things that they're doing. But I realized that would just be a snapshot in time today. But we all know, we've heard probably from several speakers today, that the world of AI is changing so fast. And the interesting startups of today might be obsolete in just a couple of years. So instead of focusing on just a few specific companies or specific products, I thought I would go higher level and talk about AI in the world and Asia's place in it. I'm not selling any product or service. I am selling a picture of the future. We know that there's going to be an AI future, and what I'm selling is that Asia is going to be a major part of that. In fact, it's already a major part of that. But before getting to Asia, I think we should talk about the leader in the world around AI today. AI has been under development for decades, really, and the advancements that we see now have been driven really by research over the last few years. And it would be easy to see that the US is the leader of AI currently. It's virtually every of the largest companies in the world are American companies, and all of those American companies are heavily invested in AI. Whether it's NVIDIA making the chips that power AI, or Meta and Google that are building the large language models that are powering a lot of what other folks are doing, or folks like Microsoft that are providing financing, major financing to companies like OpenAI and smaller ones, or even Apple and Tesla, which got started a little bit later in the game, but are putting AI in the hands of customers, like my phone. We've also seen US-based AI startups, several of them. I'll read a few: OpenAI, Databricks, xAI, Anthropic, Scale AI. Most of these companies, founded in just the last few years, all the names I mentioned have already achieved valuations of more than $10 billion. And below them, there are several dozen other companies that have already achieved multi-billion-dollar valuations. So it's not surprising. It's not news to folks who are reading the news that the US is a major player. And it's probably not a surprise if you go a half layer deeper. There's such a strong US startup ecosystem, powered by world-class educational institutions, access to capital, and a culture of innovation that attracts talent from all around the world. For instance, there's a study tracking top-tier AI research talent. Not just any AI engineer, but the ones that are producing papers and speaking at conferences and things like that. They found that while half of the top AI researchers studied college in China, most AI researchers, including those who studied in China, are now working for companies and institutions in the US. Another study found that a vast majority, or at least, sorry, the US is the #1 country in the world for venture-backed AI startups. More than 5,000 venture-backed AI startups in the US over the last 10 years. The next country, #2, is China, with just about 1,000. So yes, the US is leading. But it's still the early days. I believe that many of the influential companies in AI are just getting built now, or maybe haven't even gotten started yet. The fact that, I believe it's early days because we still refer to some companies or some startups as AI companies or AI startups. I see a lot of young faces in this audience, but for those who are a little bit older like me, you probably remember 15 years ago when smartphones were just getting popular, the iPhone was released and so on, and companies started to build new products. They call themselves mobile app startups. I'm building an app for the iPhone, I'm building an app for the Android. Just a few years after that, very, very shortly after that, almost everybody was building apps. If you were building software for consumers or even for businesses, you were also building an app. So no longer were startups referring to themselves as app startups. In the same way, AI, in the future, when it's really fully mature, will be an integral part of almost every company. So you'll never hear about startups calling themselves an AI startup, or companies calling themselves an AI-powered company. Every company should. So until we get there, there's a lot of time, a lot of space for people to build. And people, not just in the US, but all around the world, because there's just so much opportunity around AI that one country cannot provide it for everyone. We need more chips, we need more talent, we need more adoption. And the world is too diverse for just a handful of people sitting across the ocean to deliver to everybody else over here. So Asia will need to be a significant role player in this future, and it already is, really. I've already mentioned how China's generating a lot of talent. While many of them are migrating to the US, many of them are also staying in China to build what are now multi-billion-dollar companies in China. There's this notion of the big 4 new AI companies that have launched in China. In just the last few years, they've each raised a few $100 million in the last 12, 18 months, or each worth more than $3 billion now. They're building the large language models for Greater China. These are Baichuan, Zhipu AI, Moonshot AI, and Minimax. In Japan, Sakana AI is pioneering evolutionary LLMs, both for Japanese-specific use cases as well as beyond. And Preferred Networks, which has achieved unicorn status recently, is developing applications for specific industries, multiple industries. In Taiwan, Appier has developed an AI-powered platform that helps brands and retailers increase customer engagement. You've seen many of those, but Appier has achieved a $1 billion size. And then in India, where logistics are terrible, there's a company called Grey Orange that has automated warehouse logistics with AI-driven software and autonomous mobile robots. So there are already very interesting companies in Asia doing things, not just in marketing like you've seen today. In some ways, the marketing use cases are easiest, because so many of them are around words and analytics. But in many industries across the economy. So that's all well and good. There are some winners. But how do the rest of us survive and thrive in that future? How do more of us build for that future? For users, my primary tip, and I think I heard it from some of the speakers earlier, is to just keep trying new AI tools all the time. Don't shop around for one that you think is going to be your permanent solution, because you'll be paralyzed, analysis paralysis, and also, like I mentioned earlier, the tools of today might not be the tools of tomorrow. There are always people building better and better tools. So just keep trying, pick something, use it, keep trying even after you fail. When you find something better, shift it. Easy enough. For builders and for policymakers, though, I would say there are a lot of things to do still in Asia. Several areas of potential advantage for us, actually. One, talent. The US and China will continue to be major factories of AI talent, especially top tier. But we don't need cutting-edge researchers producing patents and academic researchers all the time to have AI solve the problems of 90% of the population. What we need are people who can leverage the research that's already been done, build products that are actually solving the problems in a way that we can use, that laymen can use. We do need some talent for that, though. It's not just like somebody doing no-code solutions. Some AI talent will be helpful. And Vietnam has already been applying a strategy for that, which is the best people around the world, the best people in Vietnam studying abroad, and sometimes working abroad afterwards. Fun fact, did you know that there are at least 4,400 Vietnamese working at the Magnificent Seven tech companies? Magnificent Seven are the 7 largest tech companies. 4,400 Vietnamese, and many of them are already coming back. 2, data is an advantage. There's a lot of data in English, there's a lot of digitization in the US and developed markets. In emerging markets, there's a lot more information that is not digitized, a lot of Vietnamese books and documents that are not digitized. They don't have enough time to capture that and make use of it. Companies in these other markets in Asia can. 3, I'm running short on time now, so I'm going to go a little bit faster. 3, regulation. I think there's no such thing as perfect regulation for the AI future. Different countries are going to find their own balance. We know that in the US, AI regulation has been constraining around privacy protection and antitrust regulations, making it harder for some companies to really achieve and use their scale. China's regulation has kept their companies protected, but makes it harder for their companies to expand overseas. If other countries besides the US and China can find the right balance, you can actually achieve scale comparable to China and the US. 4th, sector-specific applications, focusing on building for the industries that we are already strong at. I'll use Vietnam again as an example. Such a manufacturing and agriculture hub that provides us all kinds of opportunities to build solutions for companies and people in those sectors, which can then spread to manufacturing and agriculture through other emerging markets in the region and beyond. And then 5th, lightweight AI, which is the large language models that have been developed in the US and China. They are very resource intensive to apply. If we can develop small language models and products that work well on the edge of AI, that will be helpful for IoT and so on. Sorry I had to skip, fast forward through that, sorry I'm over time, but hopefully that gives you a flavor of what I think is possible for Asia. We're just at the start of all this AI hype. Only a fraction of the world's population is currently using it, and only those who are using it, like I think us in this room, we're just using it for a fraction of our time. I'm really excited to see what gets built in the future, and I hope that Vietnam and other countries in Asia are a part of building that future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eddie Thái. Please hold back. We'll help with this for you. Thank you for